Elite performers don't burn the midnight oil every night. In fact, they are aggressive about their downtime. By the end of this deep dive, you will know exactly how to execute the 10-minute shutdown ritual used by high-level executives to fully disconnect and recharge.
I mean, it really is a game changer.
In the next 20 minutes, we are going to fix your burnout. We aren't talking about working less. We are talking about closing the tabs in your brain.
Yeah, it's a bold promise for sure, but the mechanism is actually surprisingly simple, and frankly, it's missing from almost everyone's operating system right now.
I think we need this one. I
Yeah.
really think everyone listening needs this one. Because the source material we're looking at today tackles something that feels almost like a modern plague. We work, we leave work, but we never actually leave. We just move from the big screen to the medium screen to the little screen.
Exactly. We are physically present in our living rooms, but neurologically, we are still at the office. And the core problem identified in the research here is something called open-loop anxiety.
Open-loop anxiety. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a software error, which I guess in a way it is. What exactly is an open loop in this context?
Right. So to understand this, you really have to look at the Zeigarnik effect. It's a psychological phenomenon that basically says the human brain has a compulsion to finish what it starts. It absolutely hates loose ends.
Okay, so how does that actually manifest at, say, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Well, think about your computer browser. You know how it feels when you have 50 tabs open? Even if you aren't actively looking at them, they are draining your battery. They are using up processing power in the background.
Oh man, that is my life. The fans on my laptop are constantly spinning.
Right, and that is exactly what happens to the human brain when we leave the office without a proper shutdown. If a task isn't closed or captured, your brain keeps a subconscious process running to track it. It's essentially saying, don't forget this. Hey, don't forget this.
That is such a relatable feeling.
Yeah.
You physically walk out the door or, you close the laptop if you're remote, but your brain is essentially still buffering.
Buffering. That's the perfect way to put it. The research suggests that burnout is rarely just about the sheer volume of work you do. I mean, we can actually handle a lot of work. Burnout comes from the inability to mentally disconnect from that work.
So it's not the heavy lifting that breaks you, it's the fact that you never actually put the weight down.
Precisely. It's the background noise. If you don't close those mental loops, your brain just stays in processing mode. It keeps spinning, trying to solve problems or remember tasks, even while you're trying to do something else.
Which explains that classic scenario where you're sitting at the dinner table with your family or you're out with friends, you're physically there, you're nodding your head, but mentally you're rewriting an email.
We're stressing about a project that's due on Friday, yeah. And that is open-loop anxiety. You are stressing at the dinner table because your brain is still at the desk. You didn't tell it to stop.
So the mission today is to learn how to tell it to stop. Not just try to relax, but a literal mechanical process to force the shutdown.
Exactly. We have a specific protocol for that. It's a cognitive off switch.
Okay, we know the enemy is open loop anxiety. Now let's walk through the 5-step solution found in our deep dive today. This is the shutdown ritual. Let's start with habit 1.
So habit 1 is all about structure. It's called the progress log.
The progress log. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here immediately because usually when I end my day, I'm looking at my to-do list and feeling terrible about everything I didn't do. My instinct is to focus on the leftovers.
And that is exactly what this habit is designed to counter. That instinct is totally natural. It's a survival mechanism to focus on threats or incomplete tasks, but it is highly destructive for recovery.
So what's the fix? How do we rewire that?
The instruction here is simple. Note down 3 things you actually finished today.
Just 3 things. That feels almost, I don't know, too easy.
It's supposed to be easy, but the psychology behind it is crucial. When you look at an unchecked to-do list, your brain registers a gap. It zeroes in on the incomplete. By writing down 3 completed tasks, you are flipping the script.
You're forcing your brain to acknowledge the win.
Exactly. You are giving your brain a specific dopamine hit. You are signaling completion. It shifts your focus from what remains undone to what was achieved. It's a biological full stop to the day's effort.
I really love that. It's like closing the ledger. Instead of leaving it open and messy, you balance the books before you walk away.
Right, because if you leave thinking about the 10 things you missed, you carry that deficit into your evening. You feel behind. And when you feel behind, you literally cannot relax. But if you leave thinking about the 3 things you crushed, You carry momentum.
It's an identity shift, too. You go home as the person who got things done rather than the person who didn't finish.
Exactly. It protects your confidence.
Okay, so step 1, we log the progress, we get that dopamine hit. Now let's move to habit 2. This one is called the bridge.
Yeah, this creates a bridge to tomorrow. The source material actually references Abraham Lincoln here.
Lincoln. Okay, bring us back to the 19th century.
Yeah.
What did Lincoln have to say about modern productivity?
Well, the concept is simply prepare. It's the famous quote about sharpening the axe before chopping the tree. The action for habit 2 is to write down the very first step for tomorrow morning's task.
Wait, not just the task itself. Like, I can't just write work on Project X.
No, and that distinction is absolutely vital. If you write work on Project X, your brain sees a mountain, it sees a vague, scary, undefined monster.
And what happens when the brain sees a monster?
It runs away. That's what procrastination is. Instead, you need to write something like, open the marketing Google Doc and type the first headline.
Wow, that is granular. Why do we need to be that specific?
Because it's about friction. The hardest part of any workday is the startup. It's that moment you sit down, turn on the screen, and have to decide where to begin. That decision costs energy. It's called activation energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the morning zombie brain. You sit there, you check email for 20 minutes just to avoid doing the real work because the real work feels too big.
Exactly. That 20 minutes of email checking is avoidance behavior. By writing the very first step the night before, you are building a bridge over that hesitation. You reduce the startup friction. You don't have to think. You just execute the instruction you left for yourself.
You're being a good boss to your future self.
You really are. It allows you to start fast without wasting that precious morning energy on decision-making. You save your decision power for the actual work, not the logistics of starting.
It reminds me of writers who leave a sentence half-finished so they know exactly where to pick up the next day.
It's the exact same principle. Never park on an uphill slope. Park downhill so you can just roll into the work.
So we've logged progress, giving us satisfaction. We've built a bridge, giving us a plan. Now things get a little more strategic. Let's move to habit 3.
Right. Habit 3 is about optimization. We call this the calendar triage.
Triage. That sounds tense, like an emergency room.
Well, in a way, it is preventative medicine for your schedule. The action is to look at tomorrow's calendar specifically to ask one question. What is going to trip me up?
What is going to trip me up? I like that phrasing. It's not just what do I have to do.
No, what do I have to do is passive. You're just observing the car crash. What is going to trip me up is defensive. It forces you to look for conflicts. Like you see back-to-back meetings with no travel time or a deadline that's tighter than you thought.
So you're looking for the landmines.
And you solve them now. That's the key. If you see a conflict, you send the email to reschedule it now at 5 p.m. rather than letting it blow up in your face at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
This goes back to that open loop anxiety, doesn't it? If I know subconsciously that my calendar tomorrow is a total mess, I'm going to be anxious about it all night.
Exactly. Even if you haven't consciously admitted it, your amygdala knows there is a threat on the horizon. If you identify the threat and neutralize it before you leave, your brain can relax. You aren't worrying about the ambush because you've already disarmed it.
It's proactive problem solving.
Yeah.
You're protecting your future mental energy.
And you're ensuring that when you do arrive tomorrow, you aren't immediately in crisis mode. You've cleared the path. You can actually sleep.
So recap quickly. We celebrated the wins with the progress log. We set up the start with the bridge. We cleared the path with calendar triage. Now, habit 4. And honestly, looking at the notes here, this is the one that might make people feel the most self-conscious.
It creates a clear boundary, though.
Right. Habit 4 is the closing phrase.
This is about mental clearing. The action is simple, but it requires commitment. You say a specific audible phrase to signal to your brain that work is done.
Like out loud, even if people are around. Even if I'm in a coffee shop.
Ideally, yes, though maybe whisper it if you're in a crowded Starbucks. The source suggests something like system shutdown.
System shutdown. I have to say, it sounds a bit robotic.
It's supposed to be ritualistic. Think about it. We used to have very clear boundaries. You clocked out, you walked out of the factory, the whistle blew, the environment changed physically. Today, work follows us into our pockets. The lines are totally blurred.
So we have to artificially create that whistle.
Exactly. We need a hard line between work mode and home mode. The vocal trigger is that line. It leverages something called embodied cognition.
Embodied cognition, meaning
Yeah.
what exactly?
Meaning that your physical actions influence your mental state. By using your voice and hearing the phrase with your own ears, you are making the end of the day a physical reality, not just a vague idea.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. It's not just thinking I'm done, it's hearing yourself say it.
Auditory processing is different from internal thought. When you say system shutdown or shutdown complete, you are creating a sensory event. You are anchoring the end of the day in reality.
It sounds weird, but you need a vocal trigger. I won't put a sticky note on this for you listening. Say it to settle it.
Say it to settle it. That's perfect. It feels silly the first time you do it, but the relief you feel is real. It's a permission slip to stop worrying. You are basically authorizing your brain to go offline.
Okay, so we have done the ritual. We've logged, bridged, triaged, and declared system shutdown. Now, the laptop is closed. What do we do with the downtime? This brings us to habit 5.
This is the authority anchor. Habit 5 is about leverage, specifically fiction reading.
Fiction reading. Okay, hold on. Not business books, not self-help, not the latest biography of some tech CEO.
Explicitly not. The source points to authority figures here, LeBron James and The Rock.
Two people who I would definitely describe as elite high performers.
Absolutely. And they don't just chill in a passive way. They consume content specifically unrelated to their work to decompress.
See, I think the instinct for a lot of ambitious people, and I'm totally guilty of this, is that even my downtime should be productive. If I'm reading, I should be reading about leadership or economics, so I'm getting smarter.
And that is a huge trap. That is the always-on trap. If you are reading about leadership, your brain is still in work mode. You are still processing professional concepts. You're comparing yourself to the author. You're analyzing strategies. LeBron isn't watching game tape to relax. He's engaging in stories.
The source mentions this idea of the compound interest of recovery. What does that actually mean?
It means that recovery isn't just the absence of work. It's an active investment. By engaging in fiction or a narrative that has absolutely nothing to do with your job, you are allowing the work muscles of your brain, the analytical executive function centers, to fully relax and repair.
It's like a physical athlete rotating muscle groups.
Yeah.
You can't train legs every single day. You have to rest them so they grow.
Exactly. If you use your analytical brain all day at work and then you use your analytical brain all night reading business books, you are overtraining. Fiction takes you out of your reality and puts you in another one. That escapism is functional. It's not wasting time. It's investing in energy restoration for the next day.
That is a huge aha moment for me. I always viewed reading fiction as a guilty pleasure. Like, I'll do this once I've learned everything else. But you're saying it's actually part of the performance toolkit.
It is essential maintenance. If you don't detach, you don't recover. And if you don't recover, your performance tomorrow absolutely suffers. LeBron knows this. The Rock knows this. They protect that mental space.
Now, I have to ask, does watching Netflix count or scrolling TikTok?
It's a good question. The experts usually say no to scrolling because that fractures your attention. It's high dopamine but very low depth. Fiction reading or even a really immersive, high-quality film forces a singular focus. It quiets the noise. Scrolling just adds more noise.
So we need depth, not just distraction.
Correct. You want to activate the default mode network in a healthy way, letting your subconscious sort things out while your conscious mind is in Narnia or Hogwarts.
So let's bring this all together. We aren't just talking about a checklist here. We are talking about a fundamental shift in how we view the end of the day.
Right. We are moving from a passive drift into the evening where work bleeds into our personal lives to an active, intentional shutdown.
Let's do a quick GPS recap of the 5 steps before we issue the challenge.
Step 1 is the progress log. Write down 3 things you finished. Get that dopamine hit.
Step 2 is the bridge. Write the very first step for tomorrow morning to kill the friction.
Step 3 is calendar triage. Ask yourself, what's going to trip me up? And solve it.
Step 4 is the closing phrase. Say system shutdown. Make it audible.
And step 5 is fiction reading. Disconnect it completely with the story to leverage active recovery.
It's clean, it's actionable, and it really only takes about 10 minutes.
That's the beauty of it. 10 minutes to save your entire evening.
So here is the challenge for you listening right now. If you want to stop stressing at the dinner table, I challenge you to execute this shutdown ritual at 5:30 p.m. today, not tomorrow. Today.
Give it a try. Really see how different the evening feels when you have officially closed the shop.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. We talk a lot about work ethic, but we rarely talk about rest ethic.
That's the lingering thought here. Recovery isn't the absence of work, it's an active discipline. If you don't plan your shutdown, you are planning your burnout.
Go close those loops.
You've made it this far, so why stop now? There are 2 videos on your screen right now that are perfect for you. Just pick the one that looks most interesting and let's dive back in.